As I stepped into the small, dimly lit examination room, clipboard clutched tightly in my hand, I could feel my heart racing slightly faster than normal. This wasn't my inaugural experience aiding in a patient's examination, yet there was an undeniable quality to this specific task that left me feeling somewhat unsteady. As a nurse at a bustling downtown clinic, I had encountered a myriad of situations, yet what was about to transpire with Mr. Warren was something I had never anticipated. He was a reserved individual in the early years of his 5th decade, often preferring solitude. He arrived for his regular assessments, including blood pressure and cardiac evaluations, and everything appeared normal. Having aided him in the past, today carried an unmistakable air of distinction the instant I entered the room. He sat upright on the bed, his posture rigid and filled with uncertainty. His gaze flitted anxiously across the room, and he squirmed uneasily beneath the flimsy hospital gown. "Good afternoon, Mr. Warren," I said softly, my smile warm as I entered the room. "How are you faring today?" He nodded swiftly, yet I could perceive the discomfort lurking in his gaze. A sense of unease lingered in the air. "Allow me to assist you in getting ready for the exam," I remarked, moving closer to fine-tune the monitoring equipment and smooth out his gown. Yet, as I shifted, an unforeseen sight caught my eye through the delicate material. My eyes fell, drawn to the distinct silhouette hidden within the drapery of the gown. I paused for a moment, my cheeks warming as I averted my gaze, silently urging myself to maintain my composure. I served as a nurse. I had undergone training for those uncomfortable moments. Occasionally, such events unfold. It was merely a study of anatomy. Yet, the manner in which it unveiled itself, so abrupt and unforeseen, unsettled me more than I had anticipated. "Allow me to assist you in finding your ideal position." "For the doctor," I said, clearing my throat and once more reaching to adjust the sheet. Yet, as I advanced, he adjusted once more, this time with an unsettling swiftness. The gown's edge slipped away entirely. All was laid bare. I inhaled sharply, instinctively swiveling my head, striving to regain my poise. A whirlwind of thoughts surged through my mind. Should I bring it up? Shall we depart from this space? Act as if nothing occurred? Just as I was about to make a choice, the door behind me let out a haunting creak as it opened. "My apologies, I didn't intend to intrude." A voice emerged, another nurse peering in through the doorway. She blinked once, a flicker of awareness crossing her face, then swiftly withdrew, shutting the door behind her with a decisive motion. I glanced back at Mr. Warren, who appeared utterly mortified. He rushed to shield himself, yet the palpable tension lingered heavily in the atmosphere. His cheeks burned with color as he fixed his gaze on his lap, deliberately steering clear of any eye contact. Apologies escaped his lips in a hushed tone, a hint of regret lacing his words. I inhaled deeply, seeking to reclaim my composure. "It's perfectly fine. Let's prepare you for your exam, shall we?" As I reached for fresh linens and supplies, a sudden sensation coursed through me as his hand lightly grazed mine. I found myself paralyzed once more. It felt light, almost as if by chance, yet the way it lingered compelled me to ponder whether it was genuinely a misstep or an unvoiced cue. My skin tingled, and for a fleeting moment I found myself frozen in place, unsure of how to react. My professional instinct urged me to disregard it and proceed, yet my intuition cautioned me to tread carefully. At that moment, the door swung open once more. This moment found Dr. Anders blissfully ignorant of the events that had just unfolded. "Is everything okay in here?" he inquired with a bright demeanor, casually perusing the patient chart as he stepped inside. "Indeed, doctor," I replied hastily, moving to the side. "Mr. Warren is prepared." I chose not to glance behind me. I found myself yearning to escape the confines of the room. As the doctor commenced his customary inquiries, I slipped away quietly, my heart still pounding. The door clicked shut behind me, yet the unease lingered in the air. Later that afternoon, while I was conducting my routine rounds and updating charts, my phone vibrated with a notification from the front desk. "Mr. Warren has made a specific request for Nurse Jenna to attend to him during tomorrow's follow-up." I gazed at the message, a knot forming in my stomach. What is it about me? Did I err in some way? Could it be that I had stumbled upon something I was never meant to witness? Or had something more profound begun to take hold? The following day arrived more swiftly than I had anticipated. Once more, I stood before Mr. Warren's door, inhaling deeply before raising my hand to knock. I reminded myself to remain composed, poised, and uninvolved. Yet, as the door swung open and our gazes locked, the discomfort surged back with an undeniable intensity. This time, his smile was different. It carried none of the shyness or embarrassment that had marked his expression the day before. It exuded a distinct quality, marked by an air of confidence and a sense of control. He spoke gently. "I've been thinking about you." My heart fluttered momentarily before I managed a soft laugh. Let us concentrate our efforts. During your checkup, Mr. Warren, I stated with conviction, striving to maintain the focus of our discussion. Yet, as I approached his foreline, my mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. A sense of unease lingered in the air. And beneath the surface, an unsettling intuition whispered that this was merely the commencement. The following morning, I entered the clinic with a resolute intent to maintain my distance. The day before had cast a shadow of unease over me. I continually reassured myself that I was overanalyzing the situation, that perhaps Mr. Warren was merely awkward and flustered, and I was allowing it all to cloud my thoughts. Yet, the memory of his request lingered in my mind. He had explicitly requested my presence once more. And that smile, it truly existed beyond the confines of my imagination. I occupied myself with other patients, attending to morning vitals and managing paperwork. Yet, as the clock struck 10 a.m., the front desk summoned me once more with a buzz. Mr. Warren awaits in examination room 3. He has requested your presence specifically. My stomach churned. I seized my chart and squared my shoulders. This time, I would ensure that nothing remained ambiguous. I would adopt a straightforward approach, remaining detached if the situation demands it. Simply endure it. As I entered the room, I found Mr. Warren sitting upright, once more clad in a hospital gown. He appeared at ease, perhaps overly so. His hands rested neatly in his lap, and his expression remained a mystery. Greetings of the morning. I offered him a quick greeting, aiming to maintain a sense of efficiency. Allow me to prepare you. He smiled at me once more, that familiar disquieting assurance gleaming in his gaze. It brings me joy to know it's you. I hesitated. Today, our attention will be directed towards your well-being. He remained silent as I drew near, meticulously adjusting his 4 tubes and scrutinizing the monitor. I maintained a precise demeanor, ensuring I did not tarry. As I leaned in just a bit to adjust the cuff on his arm, he spoke once more, his voice low and almost conspiratorial. Your presence has been on my mind lately. My jaw tightened. Mr. Warren, my purpose is to support you in your care, rather than to partake in personal discussions. He offered a subtle smile, as if he had anticipated that very response. His gaze tracked my every motion with an unnerving intensity. In an unexpected moment, the door swung open. I almost leaped, a wave of relief washing over me as another person entered the room. Yet, my sense of relief was fleeting. The doctor was not the one. A woman in her mid-40s stood before me, her sharp features accentuated by her polished attire, distinctly not in scrubs. With determination she entered, her eyes sweeping across the space. Her gaze fixed on me for a moment before drifting toward Mr. Warren. Her voice carried a serene quality, yet it was laced with tension. Have I stumbled upon something in progress? Mr. Warren's expression wavered ever so slightly. Absolutely not. I sat up straight, my heart racing. I was merely concluding my tasks. I shall take my leave and allow you both some privacy. I glided past her and into the hallway, escaping before she could utter another word. With the door clicking shut behind me, I let out a sharp breath. The image of the woman's face lingered vividly in my thoughts. Her captivating gaze, her measured voice. That was his spouse. There was no need for validation on my part, the truth was evident and she was aware, or at the very least, she harbored a suspicion. At the nurse's station, I attempted to shake off the encounter, yet the image lingered in my mind, the way she looked at me as if she had stumbled upon a secret in that room, one that was never meant for her eyes. I was left questioning whether I had narrowly escaped something perilous or merely walked away from an embarrassing moment. As the afternoon wore on, I found myself sorting through files when yet another message arrived. Mr. Warren has requested your presence once more tomorrow. He seeks your assistance during the follow-up examination. My gaze fixed on the screen, a wave of disbelief washed over me. I needed to bring this to an end. I approached the lead nurse, Dana, and inquired whether another caregiver could be assigned to Mr. Warren for the following day. He appears to be a touch too at ease, I remarked with caution. I would appreciate a bit of distance. Dana's brow furrowed in discontent. We may be a bit lacking tomorrow, but I will explore what options are available. I found no comfort in the situation. The following day dawned more swiftly than I had wished. I reviewed the roster. My name lingered alongside Warren's. I inhaled deeply, steeling myself for what lay ahead. This time I was stepping into the role with a deeper purpose than merely that of a nurse. I approached the situation with a sense of purpose, prepared to articulate my boundaries with clarity. Upon my entrance into the room, he was already there, awaiting my arrival. This moment, the atmosphere carried a distinct quality. He was not smirking. He was far from relaxed. He gazed out the window, his hands tightly clasped in his lap. I wanted to talk to you, he said softly without turning around. I remained rooted at the threshold. Concerning what matter? He gradually shifted his gaze, locking eyes with me. In the moments that preceded, I remained in my place, maintaining a steady tone. It is my privilege to provide support for your well-being, Mr. Warren. Any other matters for discussion should be directed to the administration. He slowly shook his head. There's no need for pretense. I am certain you experienced it as well. A shiver slithered down my spine. I believe there has been a misunderstanding, I stated with conviction. Whatever you believe occurred did not occur. He inclined his body ever so slightly, a subtle shift that drew attention. You chose to stay the first time. At that moment, the door let out a soft creak as it opened once more. The doctor was not the one. It was she, his spouse. She entered with a hushed grace, her gaze flitting around the room before settling on me and then on him. What is happening in this moment? She inquired with an air of nonchalance. I paused for a moment. I was on the verge of departing. As I strolled by her, exiting through the door, I sensed her gaze trailing me, piercing and clear as glass. Within the corridor, I inhaled deeply, unaware that I had been holding my breath all along. A profound unease settled within me, an unsettling conviction that this was far from the end. The remainder of that shift seemed as though I were traversing through a thick haze. As I walked by the hallway adjacent to exam room 3, a familiar tension gripped me, anticipation coiling within as I braced for the potential return of Mr. Warren, or, even more daunting, his wife. I maintained my concentration, immersed in charts, vitals, and patient check-ins, striving to mask the discomfort that simmered just below the surface. Yet it was. The image of his gaze lingered in my mind, the weight of his words echoed, and the unsettling tranquility in his wife's voice pierced the air as she entered and inquired about the unfolding scene. The incessant repetition of that notification regarding my work only added to my frustration. Mr. Warren has requested your tablet for his upcoming visit. It lingered like an unshakable shadow. As the day drew to a close, fatigue enveloped me. As I clocked out, I made my way to the staff exit, a sense of anticipation swelling within me to escape the confines of the building and inhale the crisp, refreshing air outside. Yet as I turned the corner, there he was. Mr. Warren stood poised by the double doors, his coat draped over him, anticipation hanging in the air. I halted abruptly, caught in a moment of stillness. I just wanted to talk, he said, his voice dropping to a more relaxed tone, as if we were simply two friends catching up after a long day at work. I surveyed my surroundings. A handful of nurses strolled by the station, yet none appeared to take notice. Mr. Warren, this is not suitable. He advanced with measured intent. There's no need for fear in my presence. I feel no fear. I was not truthful. Yet I find myself in a state of discomfort. You have ventured beyond acceptable boundaries. Just as I was about to depart, a voice echoed from behind me. Jenna. It was Mark, a member of the junior staff from the radiology department. He waved, a smile gracing his face. I instinctively turned back toward him, thankful for the diversion. When I finally turned back, Mr. Warren had already retreated, his expression a mystery. Once more, he whispered. I departed without uttering a word of farewell. Indeed. The following day, I reiterated to Dana my need for someone else to assume responsibility for Mr. Warren's care. She assured me she would explore possible solutions, yet given our limited staffing, I remained skeptical. I steered clear of his hallway altogether, seeking refuge in other spaces, striving to restore a semblance of normalcy. That afternoon, amidst a brief respite in the staff room, a message appeared on my tablet. Patient Warren is requesting the presence of Nurse Jenna. Immediate attention required. My stomach churned with unease. I came perilously close to hitting the delete button. It was nearly overlooked. Yet I refrained. With determination, I secured my badge, adjusted my scrubs, and headed purposefully toward room 3. If he dared to make another move, I would put an end to it without hesitation. Upon entering the room, I anticipated that he would begin to speak immediately. He did not. Mr. Warren perched on the edge of the bed, his gaze fixed out the window once more, his expression graver than it had been previously. I need to speak with you, he said, his gaze averted from mine. I maintained a balanced tone. Concerning your well-being? Negative. What transpired? I lingered close to the entrance. Mr. Warren, I have already provided an explanation. He pivoted, interrupting me abruptly. Do you really believe you're the sole one in a state of confusion? I blinked, taken by surprise. I have no desire to engage in games, he declared, gradually standing up. Yet one cannot dispute the presence that lingers here. No one has been informed. It carries significance. I am striving to maintain a sense of professionalism. I lost my composure. He advanced, yet I remained steadfast. In an instant, he lunged forward and seized my wrist. Don't, I insisted, yanking my arm back without hesitation. He offered a subtle smile. Surely you won't share this with anyone, will you? For you understand the appearance this will take on. At that moment, the door let out another creak. There, just beyond the threshold, partially cloaked in shadow, stood his wife. She had lingered long enough to catch a whisper of something. Her expression was frigid, utterly inscrutable. Silence enveloped her as she fixed her gaze, unblinking. I retreated swiftly, slipping out of the room without casting another look at either of them. My heart raced with such intensity that it felt as though it might burst from my chest. Uncertain of what Mrs. Warren had perceived, I found myself in a state of intrigue. Her beliefs remained a mystery to me. Yet I sensed that a shift had occurred. As the evening wore on and I prepared to depart the clinic for the final time that night, my gaze fell upon her once more, Mrs. Warren, poised at the front desk. I need a word, she said, her voice low yet unyielding. After a moment of uncertainty, I gave a slight nod. She guided me into a modest, well-worn office tucked away down the hall. As the door clicked shut behind her, she pivoted to confront me, her arms folded defiantly across her chest. I am aware of your actions concerning my husband. My heart sank. Indeed, madam, it is not as you perceive. Don't lie, she snapped. I've observed the glances he casts your way and the manner in which you react. I have not engaged in any inappropriate behavior, I stated, striving to maintain my composure. You're not the first, she said with an icy demeanor, but you can certainly be the last. And with that she departed, leaving me standing there in solitude, the air thick with unspoken words. The boundaries had faded. The landscape of regulations had shifted. And whatever this may be, it remains unfinished. The subsequent days unfolded in a haze of anxiety and vigilance. I lingered in the distant corners of the clinic, steering clear of exam room 3 altogether. I even adjusted my break schedule to maintain my distance from both Mr. Warren and his wife. The burden of what had transpired lingered with me, an unshakable presence. Her warning reverberated in my thoughts, reminiscent of a relentless ticking clock. Yet nothing could have equipped me for what unfolded thereafter. The hour was late and the majority of the staff had departed for the day. As I wrapped up the paperwork by the nurse's station, my gaze fell upon Mr. Warren, standing solitary at the end of the hall, patiently waiting. My breath hitched. He was not meant to be present any longer. His checkups had come to an end. What was it that kept him hanging around? I rose to my feet, prepared to make my exit through the rear door. Yet as I rounded the bend, he advanced toward me. Jenna, he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, tinged with a weariness that suggested he had borne the weight of the world. I wish to have a conversation. I believe we have expressed all that needs to be said. I responded swiftly, attempting to sidestep him. Yet he obstructed my way softly, not with hostility, but just enough to compel my attention. She spoke with you, didn't she? He inquired. I inclined my head, maintaining an upright stance. Indeed, she did. I believe it would be wise to put an end to this before it escalates into something more troubling. Yet, rather than retreating, he offered a smile, deliberate and disquieting. She remains blissfully unaware of the entirety of the situation. Once more, I sensed it, the tension, the lurking danger. Before I had a chance to respond, he extended his hand and seized my wrist. Release me. I broke free with a sudden jerk. This constitutes harassment. You won't report me, he said with an air of calm confidence, because you understand exactly how this will unfold. It's your word versus mine. My lips parted to speak, yet I hesitated, for there, lurking in the dim light of the hallway, stood his wife. She had listened to it all. A chill swept through the hallway, enveloping it in an eerie silence. Mr. Warren stood still, a sudden awareness dawning as he sensed what I was observing just beyond him. He pivoted with deliberate slowness. Mrs. Warren stood with her arms crossed, her expression devoid of emotion. Yet her eyes, they possessed a keen, discerning quality. Is all well in this place? She inquired, her tone unervingly serene. I instinctively took a step back. I was on the verge of departure. I slipped by both of them in silence, hastening toward the exit. Yet my heart continued to race uncontrollably. Had she gathered sufficient courage to face him? Would she challenge me once more? I preferred to remain in ignorance. I believed that would mark the conclusion of the matter. As I approached the door to exit the clinic, a hand rested gently on my shoulder. I pivoted, poised for action. It was indeed her. Mrs. Warren. Hold on, she murmured gently. I gazed at her, caught in a dilemma between fleeing and staying to hear her words. Yet there was an undeniable quality in her tone that rendered me motionless. We need to talk, she said, motioning toward a vacant consultation room close by. With a sense of hesitation, I trailed behind her. Upon entering, she shut the door and turned to confront me, her expression a mystery. I've observed the way he gazes at you, she remarked. I am well aware of his potential. My mouth felt parched. So, what's the reason? I'm not here to threaten you, she stated with conviction. I am at your service. And you? What is this? I'm not the woman you believe me to be, she continued. My husband, Tom, harbors a shadowy aspect within him. He skillfully influences others, particularly women. I have witnessed him accomplish it previously. I have allowed it to pass without notice until this moment. I remained quiet. With a graceful motion, she retrieved a folder from her handbag and extended it toward me. Within lay photographs, documents, messages, elements that crafted a portrait of an individual I had never anticipated. She remarked that he had been engaged in this for years. Not only nurses, but also colleagues, neighbors, and even a family friend. My hands quivered as I turned the pages, revealing the hidden treasures within. You see, she said, her voice suddenly steady once more. This transcends the boundaries of you and me, it delves into the realm of power. He will persist until someone intervenes. I raised my gaze. What is the purpose of sharing all of this with me? With a graceful motion, she delved into her bag and retrieved a small, silver key. I seek your assistance in revealing the truth about him. What is this? You already have one foot in the fire, she remarked. Why not set it ablaze? A wave of dizziness washed over me, the room swirling ever so slightly around me. Could she truly be serious? Could this be a cunning snare? Or had she genuinely reached the end of her performance as the ideal spouse? Just as I was about to respond, she swung the door open. Consider it, she remarked while stepping out. However, do not linger too long. He is already strategizing his next step. There I stood, folder clutched in one hand, key dangling from the other, ensnared in a reality more profound and shadowy than I had ever dared to envision. Now, I stood at a crossroads, faced with the choice to walk away and erase this moment from my memory or to remain and embrace whatever awaited me on the horizon. I appreciate your attention to the tale shared in this episode. Remember to subscribe and explore more content to uncover the myriad captivating hues of existence. Transcribed by joshjasada.ai